Anthony Parker sticking around, knows how to play some D.
Yeah, well, he better, because we're paying him now.
Yeah.
Ramon doesn't like him. He's very upset.
I'd rather have his sister.
Like in
Have
bed or on the
sister?
team?
Yeah, I don't know where this is
both.
going.
All right.
All right. I'll go for that. Well, anyway, so
hardwood.
Well done.
Can I be the sixth man?
I'll get her on the rebound.
Ooh,
So,
very good. Very good.
That's Mike. He'll be here all night.
We write all our own stuff.
yeah. All right, so the funnest thing that has happened for the Cavs in the NBA free agency was pen on paper. Dan Gilbert again, probably drunk.
Oh yeah.
Pissed off.
This is a total drunk text right here, man.
He just threw it out there. And to make it more fun, we have brought in Harry Caray to read for us.
Hey, thanks, Mike. This is a letter that Dan Gilbert wrote to the commissioner of the NBA. And it goes like this. Hey, Commissioner, it would be a travesty to allow the Lakers to acquire Chris Paul in the apparent trade being discussed. This trade should go to a vote of all 29 owners, especially the Hornets. Over the next 3 seasons, this deal would save the Lakers approximately $20 million in salaries and approximately $21 million in luxury taxes. That $21 million goes to non-tax-paying teams and to fund revenue share. I cannot remember ever seeing a trade where a team got by far the best player in the deal and saved over $40 million in the process. That's a lot of Budweisers. And it doesn't appear they would give up any draft picks, which might allow later to make a trade for Dwight Howard. Are you kidding me? They would also get a large trade exception that would help them improve their team and or eventually trade for D-Howe. When the Lakers got Pau Gasol, at that time considered an extremely lopsided trade, they took out tens of millions of dollars in additional salary and luxury taxes, and they gave up a number of prospects too. I just don't see how we can allow this trade to happen. I know the vast majority of owners feel the same way that I do. Why don't we just change the name of 25 of the other 30 teams to the Washington Generals? Please advise, Dan Gilbert.
I love it. Thank you, Harry. All right, so we've had a little bit of time for that to digest. And what do we think of Dan Gilbert's alcohol-fueled rant? You like it? You hate it?
I'm going to start it off. I love it.
I love it!
Why not? Why not speak your voice? You know what I'm saying? Why not speak your mind? Why not speak what your thoughts in your head? You know, just everything. Why not just say what you're feeling? And that's what this city needs. No other NBA owner comes out, other than probably Mark Cuban, comes out and talks passionate about their team or gives a flying hell what goes on in the NBA as much as these two guys do. And I think there should be more of it.
I think Dan Gilbert said it best. They should change their name to the Washington Generals. I mean, come on. That is hilarious to me, man.
So perfect. That is awesome.
I'll tell you what, though. I feel a couple different ways about this. I feel one way about Dan Gilbert. I feel another way about Mark Cuban as he's being drug into this because he's a typical owner like Gilbert is, very outspoken, very like for the people and for the team. But this is kind of whining to me a little bit. It's like borderline crybaby bullshit right here. But like I understand where he's coming from. You don't want to see the super teams go. But right after this Lamar Odom trade, which I'll get back to, Paul Gasol said it best. He goes, you know, this is a business, and it's turning out to be more of a business than it is a sport. And that's exactly what this is. You're telling me that if Dan Gilbert had the opportunity to ship off some players and land Chris Paul and save $40 million, that he wouldn't be on the side of that deal? That's just smart basketball. And if you have the ability to move those guys around and still do that, I mean, you know, more power to you. Sorry it hurts, guys, but the Lakers make smart basketball decisions, and that's why they are who they are. You know what I'm saying? And everybody on that team is expendable who's not wearing, you know, number 24. So, I mean, Kobe's probably the only Laker who's safe. But to get back to where I don't like Mark Cuban in this, for him to say that this trade is lopsided and then go pull through the trade that they just made with the Lakers to get Lamar Odom, which I think was an extremely lopsided trade, it's almost like he's trying to play two sides of the coin right here. And for these guys to go and cry to the commissioner about a trade that will send a good player with another good player and maybe allow them to get another good player, where were all these people when LeBron jumped ship and all these guys went to Miami? It's just, this is what teams are doing now. This is the face of the NBA. It's how it was built and it's how it's been made to progress, and this is what's going to happen. And you're going to have teams that can't compete because they can't afford talent. And, you know, you might see a lot of teams moving cities and changing names and all that kind of stuff because who's going to want to play for the Minnesota Timberwolves when they can go try to jump on a Magic team because it's all about the ring. It's all about the championship. See, and that's what it's become.
And I think, and I disagree with you completely, and I think you just proved my point. You're exactly right. That's the problem, and that is exactly the problem. Right now, yes, if Dan Gilbert can make that change, if he could just move that stuff around and get Chris Paul in here, he would do it in a second. The problem is, a lot of these players don't want to come to Cleveland. Is it Cleveland's fault? No.
Nope.
Los Angeles has a much bigger cap. They can afford to go over the salary cap. I'm sorry, much bigger budget.
Market,
they can afford.
yeah.
They can afford in a bigger market, so they can afford to do this. So you automatically handicap. The smaller the city, the more of the handicap, and that is the problem. Now, right or wrong, Dan Gilbert could be completely wrong. He could be bitching because he thinks everybody should have to wear wine and gold all throughout the country on Tuesdays.
Right.
I love the letter because you nailed it exactly. He's saying what's on his mind. He's saying what he thinks, and he's coming out directly like we want to, like we do to each other, like we do when we're hanging out on the couch. And you know what? The guy's a fan. He's one of us.
I've never seen anything like this where an owner came out and tried to call foul to the commissioner because there was going to be a trade that he didn't like because the Lakers were going to continue to be a dominant force.
Okay, wait, listen to this. What if we're on a fantasy team and I go to make a trade with Ramon and I am so ripping him off and he doesn't give a fuck? You're going to cry foul. You're going to be like, fuck
well,
that.
Fantasy rules are different. As a commissioner, I will let you know. I know you're new to the fantasy world, but if there is a lopsided trade, it goes to league vote.
Oh, it does.
And majority rules. If majority vetoes the trade, then the trade will be
It doesn't matter. The point is the trade's happening. You're going to bitch because I am picking up Aaron Rodgers and I'm giving up Colt McCoy and a couple other guys.
I love your analogy. I love it. But there's no money involved, and that's the same deal. They're getting more out of this deal than just a star player. They're saving all this cap money that's going to allow them to go out and get another.
No, but you're looking at the, I guess, the details of the example. But I'm saying the principle is still the same. You're upset by it. It's going to happen anyway, so you're kind of bitching and whining if you complain about it.
Right.
But the point is, I like it because you would. If we were sitting on the couch and we were drinking some beers, you're like, fuck you. You should not have Aaron Rodgers for Colt McCoy.
Bitching and whining is cool. You go on ESPN, you go, man, this trade's ridiculous. Just like Kobe did after they trade on him. He's like, I'm getting pissed now. He's like, this is a bullshit trade. Lamar Odom played his ass off last year. You know what I'm saying? This is, it's not going to the commissioner of the league and writing a little letter that's soaked in tears and alcohol like, please don't let this happen because we're all going to suck again.
Okay, do you think that's really what he's doing, or do you think that he's trying to fire up the fans, the people that put money in the commissioner's pocket and all of the owners' pockets to be ticked off about it? Look, you are not going to find somebody that hates it in Los Angeles. You're not going to find somebody that hates it in New York.
I love Dan. Go ahead.
You are going to find somebody that hates it in every single other city that has, outside of Boston, that has an NBA team, because we feel it here in Cleveland. We've got an owner that will pay. We've got a good situation. We've got a huge fan base. We've got a passionate fan base. But why won't you come here? Because I can go to LA or I can go to Boston. I can go to New York. I'm going to get a bunch of other guys that are on my level, and we're going to have a super team, and we're going to dominate, and for the next 10 years, I'm set.
Not everybody feels that way, but I would probably say 70% of basketball players are more concerned about them getting a championship than being the home team guy.
All right, so the Ohio State Buckeyes basketball team has been a bright spot this year. Sullinger did not play, our number one forward, and we lost. Now, here's the big question I want to throw out there. We can talk about the game and throw out our opinions, that's fine, but keep this in the back of your head. Sullinger didn't play, and What was the guy's name for Kansas?
Tyshawn Taylor.
There you go. Did. And he was quite messed up. And what's the?
He had a torn meniscus and a sprained MCL in his left knee.
Okay, never had it. Sounds like it hurts. The guy played anyway. Sullinger didn't. Sullinger's had some time off. He could have at least shown up. He could have, not that he wasn't there, but he could have at least gotten in the game, maybe even if just for 10 minutes, just to get out there and show his presence. And maybe even he gets out there and he can play. And
how does Sullinger not dress for this game? He's had a week and a half to rest. He sat out. I mean, back spasms? Come on, bro. Take a needle or something. Get some little numbing agent in there. Get out there and play. This wasn't just a game. This was a huge opportunity game for us, too, to move into that #1 spot. You know, granted, we didn't know Kentucky was going to lose, but I mean, you got to play like you thought they were gonna. We could be holding the #1 rank right now, but which of course it means nothing. It's just a number. But I mean, who doesn't want to be the #1 team in the country? So I mean, we got to move on and play without you, and that's what they did. And I think the game came down to 3 factors, and that was shooting percentage, turnovers, and bench play. We can start with shooting percentage. The Buckeyes only shot 38% from the floor, 29% from beyond the arc, and the Jayhawks hit 58% of their shots and 52% from beyond the arc. You're gonna lose basketball games with a margin like that. We had 15 turnovers, which was less than the Jayhawks. 18 turnovers. We couldn't manage to turn those into points for whatever reason. Big off their bench, Kevin Young for the Jayhawks. He came in and really took advantage of Sullinger not being in there, and he really worked the inside in the paint. He put up 14 points for them off the bench. Our bench gave us 4 points, just to give you an idea. You know, we really put this on the shoulders of Buford and Deshaun Thomas to go out there and see what they could do.
Here's my biggest thing. Oh, first off, Buford, do you think he threw a lot of shots up there?
Yep.
Do you think that a lot of them were... He didn't really have a look. He was trying to make things happen, and maybe in absence of Sullinger.
He's trying to be that guy, and you know you got to give him credit for that. You see a lot of people. You saw a lot in that game almost. It kind of looked like it was LeBron out there with the Cavs, where they just kept giving it to the one guy and trying to let him do that. You know, not other guys were looking to step up. So he did. He was, he took the most shots, but you want to be that guy, you got to make more than 30% of your shots.
Well, okay, you mentioned Kevin Young, and yes. Without that presence in the middle, Young, who is a total newbie, he showed up. I mean, 14 points for a guy like that is amazing. But I mean, look at Thompson Robinson. He had 21 points, which was quite a bit higher than his average. Would he have had that with Sullinger there? I don't think so.
Probably not.
Probably not. So on the defensive end, I think we really, really miss Sullinger. Now, his replacement, though, Deshaun Thomas, did show up, I think, offensively. And you'd mentioned he had some good numbers.
Definitely.
19 points. I'm happy with that. I just think you can't just replace. And basketball is such a unique sport in this way that each player can have his specialty. He can be an offensive guy. He can be a defensive guy. But realistically, he brings a certain presence to the floor. He brings a certain energy. When you've only got 5 guys out there, that presence and that energy can make a big difference in so many ways, even if he's not involved on it.
Right.
And especially if you're a point guard or you're somewhere around the point where you're calling the plays, you're calling the formations. It's huge. And granted, forward you're not going to do that, but at least we're missing a huge chunk of this team with Sullinger out.
Absolutely.
And this team wasn't ready to play without him.
I think it's this classic prima donna in Sullinger. Second year, you're allowed to be eligible for the NBA after 2 years. And that's what I'm seeing here. He's not going to hurt his draft chances. Whether we win a national title or not, he's still going to be drafted or selected very high.